In the last lesson, you learned how to create a new post. Okay. Now in this lesson, let's work on the validation. For example, let's say we tried to create a post with, let's say, only two letters. Okay, because if you remember, if you go to post model here, we have applied this schema which requires the title to be minimum 4 characters long, right? So let's see if that works. Okay, so if you try to create a new post with only 2 letters there, let's see what happens. First, let's run the server. Okay, now let's go and give it a try, send, and we get this error message. Okay, so that's great, it's working. However, this is not really usable because we can't really show this error message because it doesn't make much sense. The path is shorter than minimum. It does the job, but it is not really user friendly. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to use a better error handling. So for that, there is a package called Express Validator, which is an excellent package for handling errors and giving users a proper error messages. Okay, so let's go ahead and install that package so that we can apply those validation rules when we create a new post. Okay, so here I'm going to install, so npm I, and the package name is Express Validator. Okay, now we can go to our project and let's go to app.js and let's require here. Okay, so here let's create a constant, let's call it Express Validator equals to require Express Validator. Okay, now we're going to use this as a middleware here. Okay, so come here and let's use this use method to use this middleware. Okay, and we execute like so. Okay, so with this we have the Express Validator applied as a middleware. Now all we need to do is create this validation. Okay, so we could do here, but I don't like to keep this controller messy. So instead I'm going to create a new folder and let's call that folder helpers. Okay, so let's create a new folder, and inside here we can create just index.js. Okay, we're not going to have too many helpers here, so let's call it index.js. Okay, and let's write our validation here. Let's export using the exports and let's call it create post validator. Okay, and this will get request, response, and next as an argument. Okay, and then we will check. Okay, and maybe it is a good idea to go to the official site and have a look at it as well. So let's go Express Validator. Okay, let's go here to the GitHub site. And there you see we can use the check method to check. For example, if we're trying to validate the username, okay, we can check that the length is minimum 5, is not empty, and so on. Okay, so you can obviously go through this documentation, but I will be showing you how you could apply this validation, and that will make perfect sense to you. Okay, so let's come back here. So create post validator. So the first thing we want to do is we want to check the request. So request, we use the check method as you saw here. You can use this check method with this package. Okay, so check, what do we want to check? We want to check title, and the second argument to this check method, the first one is the title or body, whatever you want to check, and then the second argument is what response you want to give to the users. So I would like to say writer title. Okay, and also want to make sure that this is not empty. Okay, so this is also another method you can use with this package. Then again, request check. Now this time title. So this check is to make sure that it is not empty. If it is empty, we will give them this error message, write a title. Okay, but if they have a title, if they write a title, but this is short, this is not long enough, okay, then we can give the error message something like title must be between 4 to, let's say, 150 characters. Okay, dot is length, using this is length method, and we pass the object configuration. So let's say minimum is 4 and maximum is 150. Okay, so this will check against this rule, and if it doesn't match, it will give this error message. Okay, so this is for title, and we can do the similar validation for body. Okay, so copy paste here, body, and this time it's going to be body, write a body, and this body must be, let's say, between 4 to 2000 characters. Okay, so let's change this to 2000. Okay, so this way we can validate title and body, and you will see how it works. Okay, now there will be multiple errors. You might not get only one error but many. So in that case, how do we look through all those errors and give them? So what we can do for that is, first we check errors. Okay, for all the errors we create a constant errors, and that will be all the request validation errors. Okay, so we will get all the request validation errors in this errors variable. Then if error, so the first one as they appear. Okay, so as they happen, as the error happens, we will give them, and we will give them the first one. Okay, so we check here if errors. Okay, if we got any of these errors from the request validation, what we're going to do is we're going to, let's create a first error variable, and this will map through all the errors. So whatever errors we got, we will map through each of them. Okay, and just extract the first one and give it to the user as a response. Okay, so errors map using this map method. Now this method takes function as an argument. Okay, function as an argument. So the argument, we can call anything we like. Let's call it error, and let me get rid of the curly brace because it's going to be one line. Okay, so it will take the error, map through all these errors, and for each individual error it will give the error message. Okay, but we are interested in only getting the first one from the array. Okay, so we can use this array syntax with 0, that will give us the first instance. Okay, then we can return the response with the status of 400 because there is an error, right? Along with that status code, we also want to give the JSON response so that it is user friendly. So we give the error message, and that will be the first error. Okay, so all this will happen, and then again we need to make sure that we let the operation, the process, run to the next middleware. Okay, so if there is an error occur, it will happen, but that will not halt our Node.js application. It will continue further whether there is an error or not. Okay, proceed to next middleware. Okay, so we use this next method. Okay, so we take request response next, apply the validation, we check for errors. For any errors, we look through them, take the first one and give that for any errors. After all this, it will continue to run our application. Okay, so we're going to use this. Let's copy this and let's go to our routes post, and we're going to apply that here. Okay, but before we do that, this is completely optional. Okay, but I think this one, I don't want to name it helpers. Instead, let's call it validator. That makes perfect sense because it's all about validation, and we might add few more methods here later as well. So let me change this to validation. Okay, so let's rename validator, let's call it. Okay, so this file is here. Beautiful. Now we can use this method in our routes post. Okay, so first thing we need to require here, so let's call it const validator equals to require, and we need to go one step up. We need to go to validator, and we don't need to say index. Okay, so if it is index.js file, that will automatically load. Okay, that is the benefit of creating index file. Okay, so all we need to do is that. Beautiful. Okay, so we can apply this validation before we create a post. So before we even pass this to a create method, we want to apply the validation. Only if this validation is passed, then it will go to this method. Okay, validator dot create post validator, right? That is the method. Okay, and it will go to this next middleware. Okay, beautiful. Before we give it a try, let's go to controllers, and since we're handling the errors there, we don't have to worry about this one. Okay, so you can get rid of this error check here. So let me actually refactor this one. Let me just comment this out. Okay, let's make it simple. So post.save. Okay, and we can use then method, then we get result. Okay, and using this arrow function we can send the response with status of 200. Okay, along with that we send the JSON response as the post itself. Okay, which is the result. Okay, now let's get rid of this. Beautiful. Okay, so now we can give it a try. We have the routes, we have the validation, we have the create post method. Beautiful. Okay, save this file. Let's go to our terminal here, make sure everything's running perfect. Now let's go to Postman and let's give it a try. Let's see what error we get. Do we get the similar or something better? Let's give it a try. Beautiful. This is exactly what I wanted to see, right? So we got the beautiful user-friendly error that says title must be between 4 to 150 characters, and this validation is coming from the validator we just created here. Okay, because the title was short, so title must be between 4 to 150. What if we give the empty title? We should see this error message. Let's give it a try again. Okay, so let's say we try to create a post without any title. Okay, let's send, and you get writer title. Okay, so this is absolutely beautiful. This is awesome validation. Let's create, and we successfully create a new post. And because we have the validation here, using the express validator, we can go to our model and let's simplify this a bit. We don't really need this here. Okay, so let's get rid of that, make it simple. And we can get rid of this message and let's use the boolean true. Okay, so required, yes, it is true. Okay, beautiful. So once you save that, go to the Postman, and for the last time let's give it a try. Okay, so let's try creating without a title. Okay, we got that error. Let's pass only 2 characters. We get this error. Okay, validation, and we can create a new post successfully. And if you go to your database in MLab, you see all the posts you have created so far. Okay, beautiful. It's been quite long, but I hope you really enjoyed this validation process, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.